piece because I had a squirrel moment. Just so you guys are aware, this webinar anyone can do. You just need to get a hold of me and say, I want to do one. By the way, if we want to pick a date where a couple of agents go in and say, can we go ahead and do this? Absolutely. As long as there are 10 people on there, we can do this anytime you would like to, with the exception of I do not love to do anything after 7 o'clock Eastern time just because I am old and I need to rest. But let's go ahead and
And
jump
Scott,
right into this.
Scott,
Yes.
let me ask you something on that subject, on the webinar subject. I think we've
Yes, sir.
mentioned this, you and I, and we talked about it in our advisory board meeting, but would it be possible to maybe have a group wide, maybe one day a month that we all know, like pick a, say the second of each month or whatever you want to say, second Monday of every, who cares?
Well, right
Could we
now
do,
we
hey,
are doing the second next week. We have a second, so that works. We could start. We're doing this with the people from DFL workshop.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is possibly do a one day a month, do a webinar that every agent can know, hey, on this certain day, Scott's going to be doing a webinar. I think we could probably get 50 to 100 people on that webinar every month, clients that we just send them to it and let Scott do one big one. And then if you guys want to do individual ones on your own, like Helen does, that's great. But we would always know that on this day we could do a week monthly seminar webinar. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, but potentially we can certainly do that. If my biggest concern is if we have something going all the time, there's not going to be the focus on it because it's always going. And then what I start seeing is the fluctuation of only one person showed up, that kind of thing. But yes, I think the quick answer is we need to get something that is scheduled with some type of frequency that we can do that. And so whether it's IUL one month, whether it's debt free life or legacy the next month, whether it's whatever it is, but I just wanted everyone to know if you have people that instead of doing 20 different presentations, you can get them all to one. Absolutely, we can do that. So I'm here to help you guys and to work with you guys. So you let me know how that works out. Debt-free legacy. This is a concept overview. And I want to share with you this is how this one here worked out. And I'm going to share with you the foundational part of this, and then we're going to jump in. So this is going to go pretty quick. MJ will have this video. I say at the end of the day today, but knowing her, she'll probably have it in 23 seconds after this is over. But let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, we start out with whoever the agent is. This was from 𝐲𝐻. And so she was the one who held this. And so I did a little introduction for her and then myself. I want to talk here, guys, about industry disruptors. I know some of you have heard this, but I'm telling you, this is very powerful. When you start looking at this, what the concept we have is very similar to some of these other companies that you have heard of. For example, take a look at Netflix. Netflix changed the way we watch movies and TV. We used to have video stores all over the place. Remember? Please be kind, rewind. And if you didn't, you would make someone's Friday evening a little more miserable because when they got back with the video, see, Danny knows what I'm talking about, you would have to rewind it before you could watch it. Now, the popcorn is getting cold and everything else. Netflix changed the way that movies are done, that contracting is done, licensing is done, all through that. Or how about Apple? How about Apple changing? It used to be the Walkman, used to be, and all of a sudden Apple came through and said, we're going to change the way you listen to music. A million songs in your pocket. Remember that? They came out and solved a problem I don't know if we ever really knew was a problem. Or Uber. Who ever had a problem getting a taxi before? No one really seemed to know there was a problem, but this is now convenience, a better way to do it. And they disrupted the transportation industry. They literally took it and put it on its head. Now you have Uber, now you have Lyft, and now you have a whole bunch of taxi companies in different cities, especially union cities, that are striking because they can't compete with this. Or here's a small little company that Jeff Bezos started in his garage. as just a book. He was doing books out of his garage. And looking at the giant that it is today, he has legitimately changed the retail shopping industry. And oh, by the way, the book industry before that. And Amazon at its core is a book reselling company. And then they just got really good at everything else. What I want to talk about today is an industry disrupting fact. And we're talking about how do we close the gap on what we call, or what I don't refer to, but as you have heard many people refer to as income inequality. Now, by the way, there is no such thing as income inequality based on the true definition of the word, because money can't be equal. There's no equality in money. It's a thing. It's what we do with that thing that could make it look unequal, but it's not because of who it picks someone. So the 1% do not take money out of the 99% pocket. They just do strategies. Instead of us complaining about it, let's look at what it is. Let's figure out what are they doing, and how can I, as someone who earns 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it is, how can I mimic that? So the question is, why do the wealthy keep getting more wealthy and the other of us are losing ground? Well, there are a few options that we have. One way is going to take us the way of the taxi companies. And it's going to take us the way of the record player and the Walkmans. And it's going to take us back to Blockbuster and those VHS tapes. And if you're really old, Beta, but that's a whole other thing. Then we have an industry disruption path that I want to share with you. And it's all going to start with this question. And if you know this, I do not want you to say anything. I want you to save it for those who don't know. And I want someone to answer here or put it in the chat. What is your greatest financial asset? What is it? What is your greatest financial asset? And we're going to see a couple people put some stuff here in the chat, I'm guessing. And I want to see what is said. I don't know if anyone. Okay. Income, I see here. Income, ability to earn an income. I see your home. We have, I think Danny has been paying attention to me, and Steph has as well. Steph is one of my direct students, if you will. Exactly right. It is your ability to make an income. And Anthony, the funny thing is, I see Anthony put your home. The funny thing is, Anthony, most people you talk to are going to say that. They're going to say your home. But the reality is, your home can't be your best, greatest asset, because it's a liability until it's paid off. And then it keeps sucking taxes out of it every year. So the greatest financial asset you have is your ability to make an income. I've got to stop this share and start this back again. Somehow I'm like 3 levels deep into this. I apologize, folks. And here we go. Okay. So it's your ability to make an income. And we're going to talk about a concept that banks have been using for hundreds of years. Because debt-free legacy is built on the infinite bank concept. So here's what a bank does, by the way. I want you to ask yourself, how do you currently bank today? Well, this is how most people do it. You give You don't charge the bank money to hold your money. You give the bank your money. And then you pay your bills from the money you gave them. And then whatever you have left, if there is more money left at the end of the month, you put it in the savings. If there's more month left at the end of your money, you just hold on, don't pay those bills until the next paycheck comes in and you go negative every single month. Okay? Does anyone do it different than that? This is how 99% of the US does it. Well, what does a bank do with it? And I want to go over this with you folks because this is so very, very, very important. And we're going to change our mindset shift here, how we handle our money. So a bank, the first thing they do is they take the deposit. You put $10,000 into a bank account. Let's say that that's what you're making every single year or month, John, and you're just gonna put that into your checking account every single month. Now, the bank is going to pay you a small interest rate on that. It could be 0.1%. You might even find some with an introductory period of 3 months or 90 days at 1.5%. But it uses your money to generate profits for itself. Now, fractional reserve banking, this is the second piece. Fractional reserve banking, the bank keeps 10% of the deposits in reserves. By the way, I want to make sure we all understand this. When Daniel puts $10,000 into the bank, they don't take it and say, okay, we got a shoebox back here in the back with Daniel's name on it. And when he wants it, we have it ready for him. That's not how it works. They take 10% required, put it in reserves. They have to do that. Part of the FDIC rules. Then they take the 90%, which what's 90% of $10,000? 9,000. Very good. And then they walk down to the end of the hall and they finance Cat's new car of $9,000. And so they're paying Daniel, let's say 1%. And they're charging Cat 12%. Okay, do you guys understand what's happening? This process allows banks to lend nearly 10 times as much for every $10,000 deposited. They're able to lend over 100,000. Think about that for a second, and all the interest coming back on that. That's fractional reserve banking. All right. So now that they have this, they will lend out your money at their interest rates. Who makes the profits off of your deposits, Daniel? It's the bank. It's the bank. You're not making it. Isn't that nice if you decide you're going to go ahead and put your money into the bank and someone's going to pay you for that money because they made money off it? So what if they gave you a dividend on profitability? What if they paid? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But it doesn't happen that way. And we've all been duped into thinking this is just normal. And then they make money with other fees, overdraft charges, ATM charges, all of that good stuff. And then they make investments with your money. Anyone ever heard of BOLI? Bank-owned life insurance? If a bank has $500 million in assets or more, they are required by law to cut off a max fund of 25% of their tier 1 assets into bank-owned life insurance. Why is that? Because just about every bank would use a good chunk of that. 25% of their tier 1 assets, banks invest in bank-owned life insurance. Why? Because it is the safest, most consistent, most effective way of safely growing money and growing your assets. If a bank, who, by the way, is the most financially successful, most profitable industry in the world, chooses life insurance, I'm going to follow what they do, and I'm not necessarily going to listen to Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman talk about how this is a scam. Just saying. I'll let you guys make decisions for yourself. And then they rinse and repeat. Over 30 years, I want us to understand this. Over 30 years, a bank earns 5,000 plus % on every dollar that you have ever put into that bank. How many of us have ever deposited $120,000 total into a bank over the course of your life? Has anyone ever deposited a total of, right? It could be over 10 years, 20 years, 1 year, 1 month, whatever. You realize that the average bank makes $600 million over 30 years on that 120,000. By the way, what did you make on it? I mean, you got 120,000, maybe you made a couple bucks extra. So we are looking, guys, to flip the script. And we're looking to say, how do we take advantage of this concept? I'm going the other way. Well, here is now, by the way, I have to say, these are all PDFs in my actual presentation. These are all live things, and they actually dance and stuff like that. This is not how they posed, just letting you know. But anyway, the infinite bank concept, instead of letting banks profit from your money, how about we take your money back and make wealth by doing the same thing that you're doing today? You have zero money. You put $100,000 in, you get 10 bucks back. Meanwhile, they're getting $600 million. But if we did one simple step difference, we could start recapturing this wealth. So this is what I mean. The first thing we do is we need to start and fund your bank. Well, let's look at that. What is involved in your bank? Remember, industry disruptors, folks, we're not talking about the same old, same old. We're talking about things that you can do today to give yourself a leg up on anyone else out there. Start and fund your bank. So we are going to get a custom designed for your situation, specifically engineered for your situation, a high cash value life insurance policy in the form of participating whole life. Number one, we start and fund your bank. Now, the second part of this concept is you're going to use that bank and you're going to recapture your interest. So the cash value in this policy is going to finance your purchases, investments, and any kind of business growth instead of relying on a traditional bank. Okay, this is going to finance what purchases? What kind of purchases? How many of us have ever went out and bought furniture on a line of credit? How many of us have ever bought a house and had to take a loan for it? How many of us have ever had to go get a car and take a loan for it? How many of us have been able to take $100,000 and go put it down on a piece of property that we're going to flip and sell for $250,000? All of those things you can do. It's just that we don't know and we don't do. Then the third part is probably the best part at all. You get to scale and pass down your wealth to your beneficiaries, to your family, for your legacy, all the while keeping it protected from taxes, from lawsuits, from market downturns, or anything else like that. How many of us would love to know how we do that? Do I have your attention so far? You guys enjoying this so far? Right? Okay, good. Well, let's take a look at a scenario. And I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. And I'm going to pull up a scenario that we have for this person here. Let's see. Okay. How many of us know what the debt snowball is? Several of us know of it. I'm going to share this part out now. The debt snowball versus debt avalanche. Someone unmute and tell me, what is the debt snowball in your own words? It's way too quiet.
Taking your smallest debt, paying it off as soon as you have enough to finance it through your infinite bank, continuing that minimum payment into your infinite bank and using it to pay your next one and the next one and the next one, so the snowball gets bigger and all your debt is erased.
Okay. Pretty close, yes, pretty close. The only difference would be technically the debt snowball doesn't have to do with the infinite bank. We put those together, but in normally speaking, nice job, John. You would take your lowest debts and you would stack rank them. Now, I'm going to show you something here how these programs work, and by the time we hit top of the hour, you guys are all going to be experts and understand all of this. Sample budget. You guys tell me if this looks something similar to what you guys have now. All right. Your income is about $6,000. Now let's take a look at our debt expenses. Credit card A, it's $100 a month. Credit card B, $200 a month. Cars, $500 a month. Student loan, $600 a month. The truck, $700 a month. And the house, $2,000 a month. Does that seem unreasonable? Does that seem way out of line for what? No. And so we've got a total debt of $4,100. You get $6,000 that comes in, and you're already giving 67% out to your creditors. And then we take a look at, well, we need home expenses, right? We need, I mean, we can't live. So the way that marketing and commercials and television and culture tell us that we deserve everything we want right now. So that means that I'm going to go get that truck and get this house. I'm going to go to college without even knowing where the heck I'm going to do, or get some kind of weird left-handed wallpaper hanging degree that is going to do nothing for you. Then with your home, yeah, we're going to buy the best of the best, so we're going to get all organic, never touched by air. It's $1,000 a month grocery bill. We're going to have utilities of $400. Internet and cable, because I mean, we have to have internet and cable. Cell phones, we're going to pay the top amount here. We're going to get the latest and greatest cell phone because we need that. And then $250 for miscellaneous in case the tires go or whatever else. So let's look at our total expenses there, $2,150. Does anyone see a problem with these numbers?
More is going out than coming in.
Hey, we have officially more month left at the end of the money. In fact, if you look, it's $250. Now, let's be honest. Does that ever happen to us? When we look at our debt, we look at what we got going on, and we're like, well, geez, what have I done? What is your greatest financial asset?
Your income.
Your ability to make an income. Exactly, Lisa. Exactly. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Do you guys realize that right now, this is your average person out there, and we are taking our income, and this has nothing to do with building wealth. This has everything to do with living in the here and now, and we're pissing away any type of leverage that we have. By the way, if anyone would disagree with this, feel free to let me know. So here's how the snowball works. not putting it within Infinite Bank, but this is how the snowball would work. Here's all of your bills. And then what happens is we're going to take everything, minimum payments on everything, and then we're going to take everything we have extra, and we are going to pay this credit card off. We're going to keep putting everything on it until it's paid. We are going to go and sell everything we do not need. If it is not bolted down in that house, it's for sale. Danny, I would be afraid if Daniel was trying to get out of debt here, and if you weren't bolted to the floor, be careful because he might be able to, that could pay off a lot of debt, right? I'm just kidding. But there is all kinds of things you can do. Do not tell me that you don't have enough. You can go side hustle, Uber Eats, deliver pizzas. I don't care. Get on Amazon, sell stuff on eBay, doesn't matter. But either way, we're going to pay this card off. And now that $100 is paid off, we don't make that payment anymore to that credit card. So what do? Yes, another $100 that I have that I can go get what I want right now. No, we are going to aggressively now put, this is $200 a month, this is $100 a month. Now that this is paid off, now I can put $300 a month on this credit card. Can you guys see that okay? Do I need to make it any bigger there? How's that? Hopefully that's good. So now we're going to pay $300 a month until this is paid off. I'll put you guys over here. Okay, and then after that is paid off, we have a car payment of $500. We've uncovered $300 more. So now $500 plus $300 is $800. We're going to put $800 a month to that car payment. And then that car payment, once that's done, we go after student loans. By the way, if you have student loans, stop waiting for the government to pay for it. They're not going to. They're not going to. And frankly, I'm not sure about you guys personally. I don't like free gifts. If I made a decision to go do something, I need to take responsibility for the debt that I've accumulated, period. If you don't have a mindset that you're responsible for your financial decisions, folks, feel free to jump off this call. You will never learn how to grow money. Never do it. Okay? Love all of you guys, but that's the truth. So again, we continue to go down until you realize that the $4,090, or actually I think it was $4,150, you now have ready to make you money. Why? Because it is not going to the creditors. Does everyone understand that? It's not going to the creditors. So now what we do is we're going to say, well, that $4,050 or $4,150 that was originally going to, sorry, wrong way, was originally going to all the creditors. If you look at all these payments here, let's go back to the beginning. There we go. $4,100. If you put $4,100 into an investment account or into some kind of retirement account that was life insurance, how would 30 years from now look for you versus living this way? Can we agree it would look different? So this is now what we do is we take a look. Now we have the debt snowball thing figured out. This is what we build. The infinite bank meets debt snowball, debt avalanche. Debt snowball is we stack rank the principal balances from lowest to highest. You pay minimums on everything but the lowest, and you aggressively attack it. And then once that's done, you just keep moving over your money to pay the next thing. Similar to this, and I'm going to show you how this works. For this illustration here that we did, it was going to take someone from 50 years to 10 years and 7 months. And it was 50 years because of their student loan debt. You guys, I want to make sure we all understand this. Student loan debt is designed never to be paid off. I want you to hear that again. It is designed never to be paid off. Oh, it's in forbearance. Oh, it's in forgiveness. Oh, we get we don't have to pay it yet. Guess what? That interest rate is still climbing. So let's take a look at how in the world can we have the exact same thing going on, and one person, it's going to take 50 years, and I put Daniel and Danny on this, and it's going to be 10 years and 7 months. How is this possible? I'm glad you asked. So here is our strategy. We're going to identify inefficient payment strategies. After we look at all of the financial data on this, we're going to chart out the plan. The first thing we do is identify what areas of your income are not being used in the most efficient way. By the way, that is going to come, folks, from two ways. Number one, overpayments to your creditors. If you are overpaying to your creditors, you are not being efficient with your money. I know this is counterintuitive to what everyone has heard. What have we all heard? Oh, by the way, brought to you by the U.S. government and by the banking institutions of the U.S. Just so you know. What you have heard is, oh, if you pay an extra payment on your house every year, that'll cut 7 years off of your mortgage. Okay. So it goes from 30 to 23. Okay. What about I'm going to overpay on my credit card because that interest rate's 29%. See, the problem is we need to understand here's the difference between the wealthy and the 99%. When you have, Alec, a paycheck that comes in, most people in America will say, all right, here's my money for the month. Now I need to go pay my bills. That dollar has a job for everyone. The problem is when you have that dollar, we are in a culture or society where that dollar we give to someone. We lose control over that because we have now lost that dollar. I go pay $5. Take that back. I go pay $10 for a Starbucks coffee. It's probably what it is now. You pay that $10, I don't get that $10 back. You think that's how the wealthy do it? The wealthy don't use their money to pay bills. The wealthy use their money to do what? Do what?
More money.
Make money. Absolutely. The wealthy use their money to make money. Then they take the money that they've made on their money and they pay bills. See the difference? So this is what we're going to do is we're going to look at inefficient strategies, and that's what we are going to do. All right. If you guys, by the way, have questions, throw them in the chat. I promise you we'll get to them. So now let's take a look at what we have here. Let's go back to this. So the inefficient payment strategies. We're going to grab that money. Overpayments, don't give it to the banks. Don't give it to your creditors. And the second thing is we're going to take a hard look at money that you're spending that you shouldn't be. We're going to take a hard look at, do you really need a $300 cell bill when it's just you and you can get unlimited data for $25? Like, do you really need to go to have a $500 a month restaurant budget? I'm going to tell you guys this. If you're in debt, the only time you should be in a restaurant is if it's a side hustle where you're doing dishes or waiting tables. If you want to make money, you're going to have to understand how money works and how it flows. Okay, so we're going to make the minimum payments to all debts. And then the other inefficient payments, we are going to put into our custom designed and engineered participating whole life, our debt action plan cash value policy, where it's going to build up cash value. And then the way that we're going to use this is we're not going to use that money to take out. We're going to use that money as leverage. And we're going to borrow someone else's money. So we're going to borrow that money at 7%, and we're going to make 10% on our money. Now, how many people think that that is a good idea?
It's excellent.
Okay, so I have Alex says it's a good idea. Ivy said it's an excellent idea.
We love the idea. We love it,
Okay.
all of us.
I don't know if I feel that was a little sarcastic. Anyway, how many people are doing that right now? How many people are leveraged? How many people are paying 7 to make 10? Oh, guys, we are missing out on such an amazing opportunity with money.
I see it.
And I know what we're all saying. Why don't they teach us this in school? Well, guess what? That's why we go to the communities now and we do these education workshops. Because schools are brought to you by whom?
The
Have we heard of
government.
Government.
Public education funded by the government. Huh.
That's cool.
You mean to tell me? Yes, exactly. Exactly. So we are going to borrow at 7 to make 10. That's what a bank does, right? You know, you walk into a bank, guys. I want you just to think about this. And if you don't believe me, you go on your way to lunch or on your way out later on, go into a bank, walk into a bank, and here's what you're going to see. You're going to walk in, and you know the little check cashing table there where they have deposit slips and all these other kinds of slips or whatever. On the left-hand side, there is a banner right there. And what does that banner say? Earn 1.5% interest on a new checking account. Okay? Something like that is on the left. They're telling you what their plan is. They're telling you what their business model is. On the right-hand side, what do they say? Auto loans starting at 7.99 or 7.99%. And then the asterisk based on credit and if we feel like it and whatever else. So what they're telling you is they're going to give you 1.5% to charge you 8%. They're telling you this. And we walk in like, yeah, it's a bank. It's what we do. So we're going to take that back. We're going to take that back. So here we go. We are going to not take our own money. We're going to have that money stay in our account and make interest for me every single day for the rest of my life. And I am going to take out loans at 3% less than I'm making. That is called spread. That is called leverage. That is called arbitrage. Any of those words that you want to use, they all mean the same thing. All right? How many are having fun so far? Good. So let's take a look here at what we did on this situation. We're going to redirect $713 that they were paying on their debts that they were overpaying. Credit cards, an extra $50 here, an extra 150 here. They were paying $275 on their mortgage over, right? Because they wanted to total up in a year an extra payment, so that's what they were going to pay. And then they're saving or investing $500 a month, whether it's in their savings account, whether it's in their 401k, any of that. And so we're like, look, that's not working well for them. So we're going to redirect that 500. And then they have an extra $250 in income that they said, you know what, we're going to get smart with this. And we can do an extra 250. So everyone following so far, it's a $1,738 that they're already paying somewhere else. And we're not going to charge them for it. We're just going to redirect it to their own bank. Okay. And I love this statement here. Did you know that your money can do more than one thing at a time? And that's what we're doing. That's the concept of this strategy. So currently, this is their plan. If you look at the student loans, and you'll see this is $45,000 student loan. It's 5% interest, but the minimum monthly payment is $159. You guys remember all of this over here, the $4,100? You remember that? That's what we in the last illustration, the last example, they were paying $4,100 to all of these folks. Well, actually, what was owed was $3,112. They were overpaying. And so if you look here, paying on the credit card the way that they're overpaying, it would take them 4 years and 7 months. Lisa, does that seem like a really good deal to you? Why am I overpaying if it's still taking me 4 years and 7 months, almost 5 years to pay this off? That seems, well, how about the car? With this car at 9%, a 7-year, they have 8-year loans now. Student loans over 50 years, and the reason why is because this program can't calculate over 50 years. Truck, home, the home's going to be 29 years in 1 month. So this is what I want to show you here, your consumer debt and then your principal or your mortgage debt. Now, here's something else really quickly. You guys understand, what is this home here at 5.5%? You guys all understand, don't you, that 5.5% is not what the real interest rate is? You guys understand that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you. Watch this, because this is where they get you, and we have been trained by this. 5.5% is what you will pay based on the principal amount over the year. How many years is a home?
30.
Most are 30. Look at this. $300,000 principal over 30 years at 5.5%. How much are they paying interest? Can you guys see that?
100%.
Yeah, they're paying $301,000. They're paying the cost of the house for 2 homes to the bank. How is that 5.5%? That's where they get you. It's 5.5% per year, but over 30 years, you're going to wind up paying double. In many cases, more. So we have got to look at pulling that part down. So this is how we do it. We fund, first of all, do you guys remember how much we came up with? Do you remember how much we came up with to fund our plan? Anyone? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you guys. Who remembers? Just shout it out if you know it.
Was it like 1,700?
There we
And
go.
some change?
1,700 and change. Yep, you got it. You got it. So 1,700. So now watch what we do here. We take that 1,700 and we put it into a Lafayette participating whole life policy. And then we just make minimum payments on everything. That's it. So now what happens when we put that $1,700 in, was it 17 or 13? I forget. Whatever that amount was. We're telling them instead of 50 years, we can do this in 10 years. By the way, how long did Dave Ramsey say it would still take if you just made one payment every year? One extra payment every year. What would it take off of your 30-year mortgage?
7
7
years.
years.
Okay, so you would have how many years left?
23.
23. Now, what is it doing our way? 10 years and 7 months.
It's taken off.
And
20
Dave Ramsey is telling me that my way is a scam at 10 years, but his way at 23 years is okay. Yeah, I'm scratching my head on that one as well. So here's what happens. We put in that money into, and after 3 months, we have the payoff date where we say this balance now, based on this, is going to be the The payoff is 2326.49. We are going to take this money from our policy. And what I mean by that is not move money out of our basis. We are going to go to the insurance company and say, hi, I want a loan for 2326.49. No questions, no declines, no credit checks. Give me my money. And they are going to give this money to you, and you will pay off this credit card, and now you are done. That $74 payment, though, we're redirecting it, right? We're not going to now take this and say, woohoo, we can go out and get, a couple of Happy Meals or whatever. No, we're going to give this an assignment, which is we're going to redirect it back into our policy. Because think about it. We took a loan, right? We took a loan for $2,300. So that's at 7% interest. Well, I'm making 10% on everything I'm putting in there, but I want to make 10%, not 3%. So I'm going to, the $74 is going back in to pay the loan. In 7 months, so January of 26, they would have accumulated $47.81. Credit card B, done. Then they're going to take 244, the difference between 74 and 170, 244, and they're going to put that back in the policy. So they're taking the 1,700 or whatever, that's coming out every single month, going into your bank. And now you are, instead of paying creditors, you're paying yourself. It continues that way. Even your student loans that we're going to take 50 plus years to pay, those student loans are paid off in 3 years and 7 months. Yeah, but what if they forgive it? Anyway, you'll be fine. Worst case scenario, folks, is you paid for something you owed. Then we have the truck. Then we have the home. And in 10 years, you have paid off all of your debt instead of 50 years, or let's just say 29 years on the house, which it would have been. Or if we did it Dave Ramsey's way, 23 years. Well, so guess what happens then? See, after 10 years and 7 months, by the way, folks, do you remember how much they were paying? This number here, you say, well, wait a minute, Scott, they were paying $4,100. Well, yeah, this was between the minimum payment and overpayments. This is their actual debt of $3,112. So now we have $3,112 that used to go and pay our creditors. What do we do with that? Well, let's look. If they continue to do this for 20 years, not 20 more years, it took them half the time to get out of debt, continue to do that, now they're going to have $664,000 of equity in their bank, in their infinite bank. In 30 years, they're going to have 1.6 million. Now, let me ask you a question. If I were to go back to these folks and say, hey, it's going to take you 30 years to get out of debt, right? We know that. 30 years with your home and whatever else. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather do it your way so that when you are out of debt in 30 years, how much money would you have in your bank? Well, probably not much, but I'll have my house I own. I'll have, all of whatever that is. Okay, option one. And that's great, right? Everyone be like, yes, sign me up. I want to do that. Or what if we got you out of debt in 30 years and you had $1.6 million in your bank plus everything else paid off? What sounds better to you? Folks, if you can't get someone to say, that sounds too good to be true, you know what? So did Uber. I can pull up a car right on my phone and I can see exactly where they are, and I don't have to tip or anything. They'll just take me. Or are you telling me I can just go on to this app, push this button, buy now, and it's going to be here to me tomorrow? Yeah. It's changing the industry. It's changing the way we do this. So that is the concept of debt-free legacy is we take money that is being inefficient, concepts that the banks have been using, we incorporate it ourselves so that we can build wealth. We can control our money. We can use leverage. We can use spread. We can use arbitrage, all of those things, and you are out of debt, not just in a fraction of the time, but if you look, the one step we're missing is if you look what a normal 30-year note is. I mean, can you imagine, Stephanie, if you were to buy a house from me as a realtor and I say, listen, this is a magic house. When you pay this thing off, if you do it my way, you're going to have $1.5 million in the bank plus the home is going to be. I mean, think about that. Think about that. Yeah, it's unfathomable because people don't understand math. That's really what it is. So anyway, that is the concept. That is debt-free legacy, and I know we blew right through that thing, but I want to know what you guys think. What questions can I answer? So let's look here. John says, if someone isn't overpaying and willing to hustle it up, what's the minimum to get started on the current illustration, and what's the time frame to get started in a bank loan? So to hire fund your bank. First of all, John, great question. This is what I'll tell you. Only about 30 people qualify for this. And this is why. Not because we couldn't write a policy on, but because I won't write a policy on people who, if all they have is $100 or $200 and it's a minimum, they have debt is not a math problem. It is a behavioral problem. And so we need to make sure if they don't have that, what I would do is not start them on an infinite bank. I would say I've got to work with you to get something else here, or else we don't have much leverage. So there are two things. If they're not overpaying, the next question is, how much could you start paying right now to get out of debt? How important is this to you? Because unless people are at a 10 out of 10, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of being strapped in debt, they're not going to do that. It's going to be viewed as a get rich quick kind of scheme. Okay, but fantastic question. The bottom line is you can do this as little as possible. I just wouldn't recommend it.
On those lines, they said if I go in, I do a consultation with somebody, and I say, "Hey, let's snowball this debt originally without the infinite banking, just snowball it." At what point would you suggest them to start getting into this, though?
After they start paying off their first one, I'd say, okay, you've shown that you can do this. Let's revisit it and open this up. That's what I would probably do.
In your scenario, say, hey, let's get both those credit cards taken care of with a snowball, and then let's redirect that money. Plus whatever.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Once they show they can do it, then you have but there is I won't write a policy for $100. I know you guys might. I won't. If it's not a couple grand, I won't, because it's not going to work this way. Now, we do have other options that we're going to be coming out with for people that we'll be able to start using a specially customized proprietary HELOC, where we will even be able to make this work better and faster on steroids. So there is a lot of good stuff coming with this. I'm telling you, it is unbelievably good stuff. I'm so excited about it. I'm having trouble sleeping, in fact, as a matter of fact. Okay. What other questions? So even on loans, what kind of interest and stuff? What were you saying there, Carrie? So even on unsub.
Yeah, you're saying that interest is still accruing, even if they say it's in forbearance, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
What if they have it unsubsidized and they're in college still? So it's not accruing at that moment, though, for them, right? Like if I'm talking to a college student that's still in college and their loans are unsubsidized, I wouldn't say to them that their interest is still accruing, would I, at that point? Or is it still? Because I was told that unsubsidized meant not interest accruing.
Well, it depends on who the loan company is. Like whoever's the one loaning this money out. I've heard them say, "Oh, we won't charge interest," but it doesn't mean it's not accruing. That's one of the games. Now, there could be a company out there who legitimately is not charging any money. or accruing any money that will have to be paid off. I don't know of them. And I don't see how they stay in business because they're lending money out. They need to make money back. So,
Okay, so the money's
with the
still
government,
accruing then. Got it.
as far as, unless they can prove different, you need to expect yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I've had people
Thank you.
say, no, there's no, they're not charging me interest. I said, yes, my dear, they're not charging you interest, but it's still being accrued. There's two very different things. And then they're going to give you a bill with the accrued interest. You'll be like, oh, wait, I thought you weren't charging me. No, that means that they weren't charged. That's the worst thing they can do. Hey, I've got
That's
something that's
knowledge
going
for
to
me.
keep,
Thank you.
right? Absolutely. I've got something that's going to go up and up and up and up and up. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to charge you for it now. Don't worry about it. Who in their right mind is going to say, no, I don't want to pay. I want to pay that. If that's keep growing, yes, I don't want to turn my head the other way and make like an ostrich. And all of a sudden I get, do you guys realize the amount of money? The average student loan debt right now is like 70 something $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's the average.
Mhm.
That's the average. What could a 23-year-old kid do with $70,000 to prepare them for their future? And here we are as a society, as a governing culture. It sickens me what we have done to our children and people going through. It absolutely sickens me, but I'll get off my soapbox there. Okay. Any other in the discovery process finding money to pay down debts? What did you say the people who have a 401k match they don't want to give up? So what do I say to people who have a 401k match that they don't want to give up? Honestly, Alec, so it all depends on the situation. And I think it's a great question because you'll have a lot of different people give you a lot of different answers on this. The first thing I am going to say is that life insurance, IUL participating whole life, needs to be a minimum of 50% of your wealth building strategy. 50%. If they do not have something, now, it doesn't need to be your only thing. I would strongly recommend people have a 401k. Why not? It is free money. However, if the 401k is not set up correctly, if it's not invested with the strategies correctly, if it's not put in places it needs to go, and if they're wasting money there because of non-match or those kind of things, they have to make the decision of what would they rather do. Have this 401k that might be worth 100,000 in 20 years when I retire? Or do I want $1.6 million with a paid off house? It depends on what their situation and what they want. If someone has a 401k and has enough disposable income to be able to get them out of debt, then keep the 401k there for right now. Just make sure, talk to your custodian and make sure that you have it in the right places and that it's not just out of sight, out of mind, and it's not performing very well. The average 401k over the last 10 years has performed less than 4%. All right. That doesn't even keep up with CPI. So just so you guys understand that 401ks have been losing money in a sense because you need what is inflation? 7%, 8%, 9%. If it's only growing at 4%, you got a negative loss there. So what I would do is if things are tight, stop the 401k. If you are in debt, it is making no sense for you to put money somewhere while you're burning it on the other side. You've got to stop that bleeding. That's like having a boat that you're going to put good water in, but there's a leak. You've got to stop that part. But if someone has disposable and they want to put in the 401k, I would certainly recommend after the match they do not do that. That is wasting money. It is wasting money. So great question. Does anyone, I know we're a couple minutes over, does anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts? Has this been helpful? Has this been good to have you guys just kind of go through and see what it is we're talking about? Good.
100%. I've got an IUL appointment at 1:00 today. So this, even just sitting and listening helps it to fully comprehend and understand. I even sent him a picture of your example in here, and he's like, okay, now I see it, and it is real, because he flat out told me, this is unbelievable. He met with a retirement planner, and that dude told him, you and your wife need to go find a different job, otherwise you won't be able to retire. And I flat out told him, we have another plan to fix that retirement gap that you got. You don't have to change anything, and you can go buy a ranch for your own.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Someone else was going to say something. I thought someone else unmuted, and then I didn't. Okay, so what do we do with this information, folks? This is what we do is we talk to people. We find out when you're talking to them, mortgage protection. What did they just do? If you have a mortgage protection lead, they just bought a house. They have a mortgage. Okay, so we already know we can use this concept and pay down the mortgage faster. And since 80+% of people in the US live paycheck to paycheck, they live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because we have debt. Because we have debt. Almost everyone you talk to, hey, listen, if you didn't have debt, how much more affordable would your life be right now? How much more wealth could you save? Right? Simple questions. And tell you what, I'm not sure that you'll qualify for this, Alec, but would you like to meet with one of our subject matter experts that we've been able to help people where there was literally no help, and we've been able to get them out of debt within a third of the time? Does it make sense for us to meet with them? Here, I've just got this form. Why don't you fill this out, watch this quick video, and then we'll set that up. And there you go. There you have it. It is like the game of golf. It's super easy until you try to do it. But anyway, okay. That's what I have, folks. I appreciate everyone jumping on here. By the way, from here on out, Wednesdays at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, and then whatever other time backwards it goes from there. You guys know better than I do, but we're going to be holding this. So Wednesdays are not now 2. We're only going to be doing 1 at this time. So Tuesday through Friday, same bat time, same bat channel, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. And we're going to be learning a lot of this stuff. Daniel and Danny, we are going to be spending time together, I think, here in the next day or two, I think, and we'll be going over a lot of stuff for you guys. So happy that you are here with us. Really excited about what that means and what's going to happen there. Folks, I appreciate every single one of you. You let me know how I can help you guys. Let's jump on the Zoom calls. Let's get out there and let's start protecting some people. All right.
Hey Scott,
Yes, sir.
Let me just finish this out. So guys, the rest of the week, we got tomorrow's morning training at 9 o'clock, same time as today. We are going to be talking about Best Plan Pro, a quoting software. So we got Misha going to be explaining how that works. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We need everybody to get on that plan. If you're selling life insurance, you need to be on that plan. And then I'm going to be doing my speech tomorrow is going to be the anatomy of a top producer, what it looks like to be $100,000 month or 2 months, 10-week producer, what that looks like, how to do that. So we're going to be breaking that down tomorrow in detail. And then Thursday evenings, we always have our new agent training. Don't want to miss that. Friday morning at 9 o'clock, we got our CEO talk. So just kind of want to throw that out there. You guys have a blessed day, and we'll be seeing you on the Zoom calls.
You got it. All right, everyone. We'll see you later.